I lost, I think I went
11
down like
kilos,
3 dress sizes, because I remember in 2019, we were going for a certain wedding. I had to buy a skirt that was a size 16. It was so big.
That's big,
but that is the only thing that could fit around my waist.
Yes,
The rest of it was really big.
Yes.
So it means I had a lot of, accumulated
Belly
fat around my waist. And I had to do something about it. So by the time I was getting pregnant in September, I had come down to a size 8. I think I was a size... If you see the photos, you could not believe.
Wow.
In fact, my colleagues started telling me, Fiona, it is enough. Like whatever you're doing, you're going overboard. You're now looking emaciated or something.
Hi, I'm your host, Roseanne Kamau, a certified nutrition coach with a background in psychology. Here on Hey Sugar Podcast, you will learn how to live a healthy and sustainable lifestyle without dieting. I'll be teaching you practical tips that you can incorporate in your unique lifestyle. I am going to help you break any dieting mindset traps and show you that a healthy and sustainable lifestyle is doable. So if you're ready to change your life for good and create a healthy and sustainable lifestyle for yourself, then this is for you. Let's go.
Listen, when you have been told you have high cholesterol, something wakes up on the inside of you. And it's like, I gotta figure this out, because this is exactly what happened to our next guest. She had a diagnosis of high cholesterol, and I relate to that so much because I too had a diagnosis of high cholesterol. In fact, her symptoms were so similar to mine that it almost feels like it's my story, but it's her story that you're going to be hearing. High cholesterol, she gained excess weight, but she has some great news, because she's not only lost that weight, her dress sizes are coming down. She will tell us all about it. Her knees are no longer hurting. This is something that she was struggling with before. And you guys, I want her to tell us her story. So without further ado, Miss Fiona, welcome to the Hey Sugar Podcast.
Thank you, Coach.
Oh, no, anytime, girl, anytime. Listen, you, in fact, can we just say you've just come from an overnight shift?
Yeah.
And you literally drove all the way here to come and share your story.
Yeah.
So I want you that's listening to this story, don't take it for granted, because her story is going to not just inspire you, but it's going to show you the power of what's possible once you decide enough is enough. Right, Fiona?
Enough. Yeah.
Can you tell us, take us back, when you got to that enough is enough, what was going on before?
I had my baby in 2021.
Okay.
Before that, I had lost a lot of weight. I was actually in 2019. That's when I decided to lose weight, because I was planning on starting my family.
Yes.
I was 85, 86.
85, 86.
The heaviest I had been at that time.
Yes.
So I'm trying to calm down, and I know babies come with their own weight.
They sure do.
So I'm scared, because we've decided now we are going to start a family. And at around that time also, I had a lot going on in my life, so much frustration and stress. So I decided to work on it. I was losing, in fact, I started with a lot of intermittent fasting, a lot of, these, I don't know, clean eating.
Yes.
You're trying to do smoothies a lot, and here and there, vegetables here, you miss food here, because you're thinking if you miss food, that's how the weight is going to come off.
Right, yeah.
So I did that, and I lost some kilos to 79.
Okay.
That is in 2019.
Yes, and this is before now you've had your baby.
Yes, way before.
Yeah, okay.
Then I plateaued at 79.
Okay.
So from December, I'm at 79. I'm not moving forward, but I'm not moving backward.
Okay.
Because I had kind of established a lifestyle for myself. I'd given up milk. I already wasn't taking sugar.
Yes.
Like sugar in my tea was not
it.
part of my lifestyle.
Yeah.
I had stopped in 2015. Now, in 2020, so amidst, all this stress in my life, so much pressure, and then you're thinking about having a child and you have so many kilos, I was thinking I'm going to be over 100, and that's what scared me. So I decided to start running. Okay. And at that time, running for me was an escape.
Yes.
It was running. I started slowly. Actually, it picked up over time, but I started walking. Okay. 2 to 3, then eventually 5 kilometers per day, 4 days a week.
Oh, wow.
And then in the weekend, I would do above 10. Okay. And sometimes I went as far as 20 kilometers, like on a weekend, on a Saturday. And I would do this every 2 to 3 days, 3 to 4 days a week. and like clockwork, I didn't miss any day. Then I figured 80%, they always say 80% is diet. You have to clean your diet. So I started going to the market. Then I was living in Thindigwa. Kiambu market was closed.
Yeah.
Fresh food.
Yes,
so I would go to the market, like literally I would wear my rubbers, patangoma,
you know how it is,
and my kiondo, go to the market,
let's go.
buy the traditional foods, buy the traditional, the complex carbohydrates, and come and pre-plan my meals, prepare my food in advance, store it in the freezer, so that when I'm coming from work, because I've been a shift worker since 2017. So I was aware of my shift, my lifestyle in terms of work and in terms of being at home.
Can we explain what a shift worker is? Because I know right now there's someone who's like, okay, what do you mean you're a shift worker? Because people go to and do shifts.
Yes. Yeah. So personally, I'm from the technical background. What I do requires people to be there 24 hours a day. So I work only certain hours a day, and the rest of the days I'm off.
Okay.
The rest of the hours of the day I'm off.
Okay.
So like for me, there are different kind of shift workers. You'll find that some doctors are shift workers, nurses, even like engineers like myself are shift workers. So some of them, not all of them, but the kind of job I do requires people to be there 24 hours a day throughout the year. Even during holidays, like people are going to go for Christmas, but somebody will have to be there to ensure that things are running.
Yes.
Yeah. So what happens, my shift, basically my schedule is I work two afternoon shifts. That starts from 2 p.m. to 7 p.m. Then, 2 p.m. to 8 p.m. Yes. Then 2 morning shifts. Then that's from 8 a.m. to 2 p.m. Then 2 night shifts. That's from 8 p.m. to 8 a.m.
I don't even think I had understood that.
Yeah.
I don't think I had understood that your shift, your specific hours, you do some mornings, some afternoons, and some nights.
Yeah, it's not consistent. It's not like I seriously have to work consistently.
It's a specific
like during the day or at night, no.
Can I ask you, because, and I'll tell you why, and why I'm going to lean in on this one, and you don't have to do this now.
Yeah.
But when I think about that, and we talk about your body and whatever, and this is, I'm just trying to help somebody, but can you be able to, is it possible to get a shift that can help your body clock run in a specific way? Meaning, if it's a morning, can you get morning shift? It's an afternoon, can you get afternoon? If it's a night, can you get a night shift? Could you get that at your place of work?
Unfortunately, that won't be possible because it means others would be overwhelmed. Since it's, the kind of duties we do involve, we have to be 3 of us. And there is a lot of data collection.
Okay.
And if you say people only work morning shift, the heavier bulk of load is usually on an afternoon shift when we have, let me say, but because it's power, the demand is mostly in the evening.
When people are home.
So if people just concentrate on working afternoons only, the people in the morning.
So I'm a solution. And as you're talking about it, I can actually already see solutions.
Yeah.
And listen, we're not even going to get into that because it's not going to help. But in my brain, I'm already saying, okay, we can add more shift workers there for the evening when there's more people, which means now the company is going to be like, oh, we're going to have to pay people extra money. So there can be that, tug of war. Yeah. But let's not even get there. But at least for me, when I hear that, why I pause and why I'm concerned is because I recognize how important for your body to have a very specific clock. Like you wake up at a certain time, you sleep at a certain time, have a rhythm, because that's the way God created us. Just like nature, we have morning, we have night, we have rainy seasons and night seasons. When our body clock is not consistent, it can cause things later in the future. So that's something I want you to put in the back of your mind and think about it. Okay, so you're doing the night shift and in 2019, you're trying to have a baby. So you've started intermittent fasting, you're doing all these things. Continue with your story.
Yeah, so I start running, I do it, and I get consistent. I go to the market, get, clean food stuff, pre-plan my meals, and it becomes part of me. And eventually my husband joins me. So we are doing
love that.
Early morning runs. Yeah, we used to wake up at 5:30. Usually if he's to be at work or I'm to be at work, especially in the morning, then it means we have to wake up very early, 5, so that we are out of the house by 5:30. We go running, or it started as walks and then eventually picked up to running in the morning, for 5 kilometers, 6 kilometers per day.
Wow.
And then in the weekend, it's 17
to
I
20.
remember, to 20
Yo.
kilometers, 15 to 20 kilometers,
My
let
goodness.
me say. And it went on. So we are preparing, and finally I got pregnant in September.
Congratulations.
2020.
Yes.
So we work on it. We work on ourselves. We lose a lot of weight.
I love it.
Because we are eating clean and we are running. And I'm also doing intermittent fasting.
I remember
because
that,
I would plan my meals and have maybe from morning to afternoon I'm not eating on a day. Sometimes I'm eating in the morning and not at night, but my meals, they're not balanced. I'm doing mostly vegetables. Like at night I'm doing mostly vegetables, no protein, so that it's light. Or I'm not basically having dinner. If my dinner would be earlier from 5 p.m. to 7 p.m. That's when I'll have dinner.
Yes.
And then it went well. I lost a lot of weight. Now I moved from 79 to 68.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. I lost, I think I went down like
kilos.
3 dress sizes, because I remember in 2019, we were going for a certain wedding. I had to buy a skirt that was a size 16. It was so big.
That's big,
but that is the only thing that could fit around my waist.
Yes,
The rest of it was really big.
Yes, yeah.
So it means I had a lot of, accumulated fat around my waist. And I had to do something about it. So by the time I was getting pregnant in September, I had come down to a size 8. I think I was a size...
Yes.
If you see the photos, you could not believe.
Wow.
In fact, my colleagues started telling me, Fiona, it is enough. Like whatever you're doing, you're going overboard. You're now looking emaciated or something. I don't know. So I told them, yes, I've lost a lot of weight, but I haven't hit my goal. My goal was 60 kilos.
Yes, yeah.
But then here I am pregnant. I see my doctor and she tells me, you have to stop with the extreme workout. Now, because I had there was some, not really complications, but when I went for my first visit, I told her, there are some things that happen to a pregnant woman, and the doctor would tell you, they know best. They would tell you, if you're doing serious workouts, please stop. The most I can allow you to do is walking. And even that walking, sometimes you're not interested. And even during my pregnancy, I didn't gain, the first 6 months, I didn't gain a lot of weight.
Okay.
I was eating clean, a lot of fruits. And in the morning, I would have a bowl of different kind of fruits. And that was what really used to appeal to me. Less sugar, mostly. When the cravings strike, it was mostly cake and chocolate.
Yes.
Chocolate.
Cake and chocolate.
Chocolate was my undoing.
Hey, that was your undoing.
Ramen raising.
Hey, my friend.
And I would eat that whole bar in less than 10 minutes. The complete
because of the cravings, they've gone up.
And that was still not my challenge because but my skin, I remember during pregnancy, my skin was bad. It was terrible. It was itchy. I stopped my regimen, my routine. I stopped. Yeah. I couldn't use anything on my face except Vaseline, because now it was drying out.
Yes.
And I have oily skin, so if it's drying out, that's really bad.
But that's also hormones from pregnancy.
I agree. Because I also became very, very dark, my neck and my face.
That's definitely hormones from pregnancy.
But the beauty was we had masks.
We did, so nobody could see. No one
so
could
my
see.
nose was covered. Yeah, the pregnancy nose was there.
Oh, you got the pregnancy nose.
I did too, girl.
So I get you. Yeah.
And I had my baby. By the time I was actually going to give birth, I was at 86.6 or so.
Okay.
So had my baby 2 weeks later. All the kilos have come off. I'm like 77. And I'm like, oh my God, it's going to be this easy. I didn't know.
We're good.
Yeah. People keep saying that after pregnancy, you don't lose it all. Little did I know that it was just the start of my challenges. And my baby was a feeder. She would. And I fed my baby on milk for 7 months continuous.
Okay.
Breastfeeding.
Breastfeeding.
And of course, when I'm at work, she would get it on a bottle. She never had formula.
Oh.
I had good milk, thick milk.
Good. Yeah. So let me ask you.
Yeah.
Because I want to make that distinction. Before, to lose that weight from 85 to 69, I hear you're eating fruits, I hear you're eating vegetables at night, and you're doing intermittent fasting, and your meals are not balanced.
Yeah.
When you're pregnant, do you change the way you're eating?
No, I continue eat. I was not doing fasting because it's not allowed,
yes, of course
obviously.
Not. You need to eat,
And I'm still eating balanced meal. Not balanced meal. I'm still having the healthy options, the vegetables.
Got it.
I'm still going to the market even when I'm pregnant.
Good, which you should, because that's a lifestyle.
Yeah,
So
and I had curated this lifestyle, but that was part of me now.
Yes.
Because I had done it for, when I started in December 2019, but when I got serious about it in February, by the time it gets to September, this is like almost 7 months of doing it.
Yes.
It has become part and parcel of me.
It's become part and parcel of you.
Yeah,
so you're still now eating the same way, but now you're eating a lot more.
A lot more, because now you have cravings, you're a bit more hungry sometimes. I'm not working out because doctor said no.
No working
and
out.
the first few weeks I did a lot of walking, but I even got lazier. So I would come from work and I'm a couch potato.
Even though, unless you do have high risk pregnancy, working out is actually good for you.
Yeah.
It's actually good for you, but I understand.
But something
you're
happened.
Also extreme.
Yeah, something happened at the beginning of my pregnancy that my doctor told me you have to calm down. You have to reduce your activities.
That's
the reason why. And I was a first time mother.
Yes, that's true.
I couldn't. I had to listen.
Risk.
Yes, I had to listen to my doctor.
The first baby, let me tell you, everything is so different.
Yes.
The way you eat, the way you take care of them.
Yes.
By the time the second, I have to. But the second one is coming, it's like, okay, we kind of know all this already, but okay, continue.
So I had to listen, didn't work out. I still ate my fruits. In fact, most of the cravings I had were for fruits. And I ate loads and loads of it.
So now once you have the baby, you're down 77 for you, it's simple.
Yeah.
And then what happens? You're like, wait.
Baby starts feeding.
Okay.
The first 2 months, it's a bit easier because baby feeds on something very little and she gets full very fast.
Correct.
But now as she grows, the demand for food increases. And the demand for my feeding also increases. I'm thinking they were just correlated.
Yes.
She eats more, I eat more. It's like that equation has to balance. And it was ridiculous, but I knew I shouldn't do this. Like at the back of my mind, I know I shouldn't do this, but I'm hungry.
But you're hungry.
And when I'm feeding the baby, I couldn't eat because you're also a first-time mother. You're thinking you'll burn your baby with hot food, hot
so you have all these different thoughts going on in your mind.
So I focus on feeding the baby. Then after that's when I want to take water. I want to take tea. I was not overly a fan of tea.
Yes.
But I would take a lot of water. I would take hot chocolate. But mine was, plain milk, hot chocolate with the drinking chocolate. Not even, not
sugar,
cocoa.
y'all.
Yeah.
It's a lot of sugar.
Drinking chocolate.
For all you mothers who are listening to this. That's sugar.
And then the other thing was uji, porridge.
It's not bad. However, our culture,
I think at first, I used to take a liter of uji a day. And that woman used to feed me. The woman who used to support me, used to feed me. She'd make really good food, a lot of uji in the morning. She'd make a liter of uji, and it was every day. Until I told her, can you please reduce the frequency of uji to 3 days a week?
Yes.
Monday, maybe Wednesday and Friday. And please reduce from 1 liter to like half a liter.
Yes.
This is too much.
It's too much.
Because in the hospital, I remember my doctor advised me while I'm there. She's telling you, I want your milk to be there. And my supply was up.
Yes.
I want you to be taking at least 2 to 4 liters per day of fluids. It doesn't have to be water only. But I didn't take this advice with me because in the hospital, you're given like a small cup, you're given like a small flask of uji, but you're drinking it the whole day, So you have water.
Correct.
Water you can take as much as you want. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that. Then tea, then soup,
Yes.
So I wasn't overly a fan of soup. I wasn't overly a fan of, because this mentality of ile soup in a cashew white but you can spice it up. I didn't even think I could do that in my home, but I'm just too lazy. I don't want to get.
I don't think you're lazy.
Yeah.
So I want you to reframe that because I know this is something a lot of mamas beat themselves on. I want you to think you've come from being a single woman.
Yeah.
You're now adjusting to a new life with a new human being.
Yeah.
You can even hear all the things that are going on through your head. It's not lazy. You simply have no capacity in that moment to think because you're not sleeping.
Yes.
Like, please give yourself grace. You're not sleeping. You have to take care of baby. You have to take care of yourself. You have to take care of the family. There's all these other competing priorities. Yeah. So you're not lazy. Like, I really want us to shift that reframe, especially as new mothers, because as a new mother, you're trying to figure how,
so many things.
You really are.
And
so there's no laziness there. Imagine for me, it's just a reframe. Yeah.
At the first time, you think as a first time mother, you're thinking, I'm too lazy to do anything. Like you're saying, it's not laziness, but it's part and parcel of being you.
Yes.
New mother, still a wife.
Yes.
And then there is family who wants to visit, and you have to accommodate everybody.
And you haven't been
and you are not
sleeping.
sleeping. And then there is a baby who's demanding. At some point, I remember this particular situation always comes to my mind when I am talking about my baby and when she was, at that stage. First few weeks from hospital, actually the first week from hospital, and the baby is crying and crying. And this is frustrating to mothers because you've done everything. You fed the baby, you've cleaned the baby, you've changed them.
Why are you crying?
I don't understand. And the father is away.
Yes.
You're like...
And it's just you by yourself and you haven't slept.
Yeah. So he's at home, but it's not his duty to take care of... They think when the baby cries, it's your duty. So he comes,
by the way,
and I'm crying too. And then I throw the baby at him, on the bed.
Yes,
literally. This baby is yours too. Mchukweni wako pia,
because they're both,
And it was in the middle of the night. So he went to the living room with the baby to calm the baby down. They started listening to music together. So, 5 minutes later, I'm thinking, I'm a bad mother. How can I throw my baby away,
But you're not, the things that mothers we go through.
So you see, that's frustration.
I get
Stress upon stress. You're not sleeping well. The baby is crying all the time. She's a good feeder.
Of course.
But at some point, she's just crying. And babies do that.
They do.
It's normal.
Yeah.
But you don't know how to handle that.
As a new mother.
Yeah, as a new mother.
Which is where, like sleep experts, it's good to go see them and really can help. And in this day and age now, there's so much, we have so much
sleep
information.
Coaching, even for yourself, not just for the kid, because you're a new parent. Yeah. So I feed, because she's eating too much, I have to eat dinner. Yeah. It's, what do they say? A is equals to B. For A to be equal to B, whatever goes in has to come out. So if she's eating this much, I have to bring it in my body.
Yes,
So I would have dinner at 7.
Which is erroneous, by the way. That's an erroneous step of thinking.
Completely. Because I remember I kept going back to my time in the hospital. I was at the Nairobi hospital when I had when I gave birth. And they would give you just some amount of food.
Yes,
because they are doing this based on nutrition, what you need to actually serve you. But they are giving you lots of fluids.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking this food is not enough. Can they add it? And then sometimes when they're coming to clean, maybe you had, they give you a 3-course meal. So you had this dessert that was left. Yeah. And then they're coming to take off your utensils and they're trying to carry your dessert away. And you're like, hey, please, I will eat that later. I will eat it at 2 a.m. when I'm feeding my baby. Can you please leave it? They understand. So they leave it for you. And I carried that. But now I increased my portions. Double the size of the amount of food I was taking. 7 p.m. I used to have routine with my daughter. I would bathe her at around 6 p.m.
Okay.
So it's playtime from 6 p.m. to 7. We are playing and we are feeding on and off. So she would take a nap after I've bathed her. I have fed her. She would sleep at around 7:30. That's when I would have dinner.
Yes.
Then, but we are not going to the bedroom, so we are at the living room. I'm having my series on, so I'm having dinner while watching
TV,
and my baby is there in her kabasine, it's rocking and she's sleeping okay. Then at night, I would feed her. She would sleep like 2-3 hours. After I've had my dinner, then she would wake up. And this time she would feed for longer, like 45 minutes.
Yes.
Sometimes even 1 hour. She's just and she would suckle on one side and I'm expressing on the other side, because I had a lot of milk.
Yes, I remember.
Yeah. And then once I'm done with her, now she's sleeping, I feed again.
You would eat again?
Again. Like whatever I had for dinner, I'm having it again at around 9-10 p.m. And then you've painted such a beautiful picture. Yeah.
So when you say you dropped the weight to 77, and then you say at some point away, you actually said, hey, what happened? Because now I can see what you've been doing. You're eating in the morning, eating at lunch, eating a snack, feeding again at for dinner 6 p.m.
Yeah.
She goes to bed, you eat again.
And the snacks are not vegetables and fruits. When I'm feeding the baby, the snacks are wheat-based snacks. The donuts, the ndaos, the cakes. And then
Fiona, I see them.
I remember my husband would come, Samuel would come back from work with cake from Valentine Cake House. with cake from Java, this, chocolate fudge.
Oh my goodness.
Man,
You're
my
reminding
God.
me when my husband used to bring me, there's a store that was called overcame.
Yeah.
And he used to bring me that marble cake
Yeah.
every Friday.
Yeah.
So it sounds like your husband was
all the time.
same,
And I was like, that at that particular moment, I felt like I loved him more.
the more,
because
isn't
it's like
it?
he's just feeding into my cravings
But
and
you know
it's life.
what brings on those cravings?
Yeah.
It's the stress, the lack of sleep,
Yeah,
etc.
yeah.
So how much weight did you gain at 77? Let's go after 77. You're like, okay, this is easy to lose this weight. Then what happened?
So, most of the time I wasn't watching after that,
Yes.
I really just didn't watch my weight much.
Yeah.
I would only know how much I've gained because I would still go to my doctor.
Doctors, yeah.
So I would go there and I would realize now I'm at 80. I'm back at 80.
The weight started going back
yeah.
up. Okay.
But it's not a sharp
Not
increase.
a sharp increase,
Yeah,
yeah.
it's gradual.
Yes.
So 80. But because of my eating habits aren't changing,
Yes.
there is no way that would go down. And eventually it's 85.
Oh, it still went
And,
up.
I'm like, my comfort words to myself were, Fiona, take care of the baby now. The weight will come off later.
Okay.
And
which sometimes is important, by the way.
Yes.
Sometimes it's
in
important
fact,
to
it
do
really
that.
made me get comfortable with because I became really, really big and my clothes were not fitting well.
Okay.
I remember for me to go back to work, I had to tailor some more clothes because what I used to wear before, because
Could not fit
remember I
in.
had gotten down to size 8.
8, yeah.
Now size 8.
No more. So what
It's
size are
not
you now once
within
you go back to work? And
I'm
how
like
many
size
months?
14.
And how many months after having the baby?
4.5.
Okay, grace. We'll give you grace. We'll give you grace, okay?
So I'm size 14. That is, I went back in October. I went back, my daughter was born end of May. I went back to work mid-October.
Okay.
So I remember I specifically tailored 3 dresses. So that I can have options.
Okay.
And then some of my other options for wearing to work were my maternity dresses.
Yes, yeah.
Some of those dresses that were still very loose. Because some of them had,
Yes,
like belts.
yeah,
so I could kind of try and
Kind of
snatch
try-
the waist.
snatch it
but it's
somehow.
not working
It's
because
okay,
there is a lot of bulge
But
here.
also, you've just had a baby. So it's 4 months in.
So and I had
grace.
I kind of gave myself some grace
Good,
because
good.
I kept telling myself, the time will come.
It will.
The baby will stop feeding.
Okay.
And you will lose all this weight. And then as a first-time mother, and since I had a lot of milk,
Yes.
I wanted to feed my baby to 2 years.
Yes. Oh, good for you.
Yeah.
Good. So you're very
And,
clear.
Yeah, I was clear of with what I wanted to do, especially as concerns my
Yes.
baby. And I weaned her off. I started introducing solids and other
Yes.
foods when she was 8 months,
Oh,
7
good.
months.
Into it, yeah.
7 months purely on my milk.
Good.
None.
I love it.
Yeah, so eventually I introduced her to foods and I feel like maybe some relief, but I'm still feeding the same.
We're also eating the same.
Yeah.
At what point do you realize, okay, now I think my weight has gone too far and I need to do something about it?
In 2022,
So how far after your baby was born?
after I started, that was like when she was when I started weaning her off.
So
I started
8 months. At
Yes,
8 months.
In fact, I never did any exercises.
Okay.
I would walk here and then because I remember at some point we even went to Karura with my daughter. She was like 4 months, and it was wonderful because she
yes.
enjoyed there is
Nature.
like fresh air at Karura, so she felt so good, and we would carry her around, in
Yes.
those two bibs and
Yes.
baby carriers.
Yes.
Yeah, and it was. Once
Beautiful.
in a while time
Got
would
it.
go once a month, sometimes never.
Okay.
The walks are not consistent.
Don't want consistent.
Yeah, so I moved to my workplace because of the nature of my work, and I have a small baby. I had to move away from Thindigwa now to work compound.
Got it.
Yeah, because we have staff houses. And
Oh,
yeah,
nice. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so now I don't have, and I had stored a lot of milk. I remember I had stored up to more than 20 liters of milk. But my baby refused to feed from the bottle. We would try. So from time to time, she would take the milk.
All that milk.
Yeah, all that milk. And then I wish I could even, apparently it's very good for bathing. It's good for the skin.
Was it?
I've been advised that, especially if they have like eczema or what.
Eczema, yes.
Yeah, you can melt that milk and bathe your baby in it.
I didn't know that.
I didn't know that too.
I didn't know
I knew
that.
that from a colleague. Recently,
Oh.
actually, she was saying she was saving some milk for her baby to bathe her in it. And that makes sense because if you look at the history of people like Cleopatra, I think those people used to bathe in milk.
I've heard
I
about
don't know.
Cleopatra bathing in milk. I've heard
Yes,
that. Yeah,
and
yeah,
that's
yeah.
good for the skin. So it actually works for the baby. I didn't know.
Well, it would
So
make sense, yeah.
when my baby stopped taking that milk, And I'm not expressing as often,
As much,
you
yeah.
know. So because she's mostly feeding at night or when I come back from work. So the milk production has gone a bit down. It's still enough for the baby because she's also having solids.
Yes, yeah.
But my eating has not changed.
We still haven't changed that habit.
My eating hasn't changed.
No, it hasn't.
Yeah, so I decided to start walking.
Okay,
So we have a really nice compound where we live.
Yes.
And it's, it's like gated community. We have tarmacked roads and some cabro,
Yeah.
So I start walking and I'm doing very well.
So this is 8 months now. After.
Yeah, when she's 8 months.
Yeah.
Then I was around...
Would you say you're getting consistent in the walks now?
Yes.
You're there?
Yes.
Okay,
actually, then I was intentional. When I win her off, I will start walking.
Perfect. Okay, that's actually... The next question I was going to ask, was there a mind shift? So you were intentional. I start winning, I start walking. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
But my eating hasn't changed.
Oh, the eating has not changed. Hey, sawa, let's go.
It was a disaster.
It was a disaster.
It has gotten worse because from time to time we'd go eat out and we'd have the pizzas, order in.
Yes, yeah.
And it's when you're ordering in, hakuna mtu ana order like, traditional vegetables.
No.
Come on.
No.
It's junk food.
It's junk food.
Yeah.
Listen,
it's chicken in, it's pizza in, stuff
All
kind
those
of food,
things, yeah.
So we have that a lot. And but I'm also, because we moved to work compound and the place where where we are living, actually, I wasn't comfortable with sourcing vegetables from the area surrounding there. So I started growing my own vegetables.
Look at you.
Yeah. So this was like for me, this was also another source of relief.
Yes.
Source of like venting.
Yes.
When I come from work, because my work
It's a
is
hobby.
Yes, and it's also mentally involving my work.
Yeah.
So when I come off work, I would go to the garden
to distress.
Yeah, to peel out weeds, check out the vegetables.
You're in nature, you're feeling the ground.
And they were flourishing. I had spring onions, I had tomatoes, I had
Look
vegetables,
at you.
and it was good. And sometimes my daughter, when she started walking, I would take her to the garden, we walk around with her, go back to the house.
Yes.
It was good for me. It actually helped me. I feel like that for me was a stress reliever.
Yeah.
These pressures from work, pressures from life, even still coping with being you really don't know anything as a first-time mother.
Yes.
You learn as you go.
So you start walking intentionally.
Yeah.
You're doing the walks. But you're still eating as it is.
Yeah.
Tell us in terms of your weight, your clothes. Has anything shifted? Has anything changed?
Yeah. Now I'm getting like I stopped wearing my maternity clothes because now I'm not feeling comfortable.
So you do drop weight. Or what?
Yes, I do. I do drop some. I would say some inches.
Yes,
I could notice.
Yes, yeah.
But now I'm not consistent because I do this for like a month and then I take a big pause because there is a lot going on. Now when I went back to work, let me mention this. I didn't go back after maternity in my workplace. Because you also have office work. You don't go back to shift working until you're comfortable that your baby doesn't depend on you fully. Then you can go back to shift. So now I'm doing a lot of planning.
Okay.
So that's office work. And mostly I'm working between probably 9 to 2 p.m. at most. Yeah. So the rest of the time is my own. So I sleep at night. And for a long time, I'm struggling to sleep because baby feeds at 6 p.m., feeds at 9, and then she has to wake up before 2 a.m. or at least around 2 a.m. Then she feeds and she sleeps. Then when I try to wake up early in the morning, she wakes up, she wants to play, and I have to go to work. So at 6 a.m., that's when I feel sleepy, and then she's gone back to sleep. So I sleep for like an hour, or sometimes it doesn't come back and I have to go to work. So I'm trying to incorporate the workouts, the walks, but I can only do them after work. I can't do them early morning because my baby needs me that time.
Morning.
Yeah, so I do
what
them.
I'm hearing is a lot of juggling and really trying to adjust your schedule based on your baby's schedule.
Yeah.
When is the next shift you notice in your body when you say, okay, because I know your story and you've said, I tried the old way of intermittent fasting, it's not working for me.
Yeah.
Can you jump up and tell us that part of the story? What happens there before you decide, okay, I need to try a different approach?
So I noticed the pain in my ankles. Pain in my knees didn't come until later. Because then where we moved to, it's a flat within the work compound, but I got a ground floor house. So there are no stairs, so I wouldn't feel the pain in my knees. And where I used to live in Thindigwa, by the way, it was like stairs. 4th floor. Okay. And I was used to it even when I was pregnant. At my heaviest, I would climb the stairs and there was no pain in my knees. I was okay. But now I started feeling pain in my ankles. My ankles are swelling. I can't stay in shoes for long, like closed shoes for long. I buy bigger shoes. Of course, after pregnancy, your sizes have changed.
They do.
My size is 1.5 sizes larger, my shoe sizes. But even those, because my feet are swelling, they're not comfortable anymore. I can't wear them for too long, So I opt for mostly open shoes or semi-closed, like what I'm wearing right now.
Those are cute, yeah.
So the pain in my ankle is what pushed me to start walking seriously now. Yes. And now, because from my weight loss journey in 2019, I had bought dumbbells. I had like 3 sets of dumbbells.
Look at you.
So I'm walking with them.
So you've been very intentional, seriously, about especially working out, at least that part so far.
Yeah.
Well, not even working out, even going to the soko, like going to the market to buy. So I can see there's a level of intentionality.
And then, even when during dry seasons, because where we live, sometimes it gets very dry. I intentionally bought a tank, 5,000 liters, and a water pump so that I can water my vegetables. But sometimes it's too dry, so it doesn't make sense. So I would still go back to the market in Kiambu. Because for me, that was where I could actually get
It felt like home for you.
Yeah, it felt like home. Readily available, clean vegetables, good sources of food. So I would go there. I would just fix a day like what I had. I used to go Tuesday and Friday, but now I could only do Friday.
Okay.
And I do that twice a month.
Hold on. Did you have someone who you could send to? Because one of the things, I teach and I tell is delegating.
So, now, one of my colleagues, in fact, even before I moved from Tindigwa, she had like a small business and she was doing like she would do shopping for you, market shopping for you.
Okay.
So I would send her and she would deliver.
Okay.
But then she got a job, like a permanent job, and had to let go of the business, so that stopped.
It's okay. But I think the whole point is, because now I'm hearing what I want to help the women understand is, because once you are a busy woman, one of the things you want to do is let go of some tasks and delegate, so that you're not the one doing everything, because you will get overwhelmed and it can feel like it's a lot. So let's fast forward. You tried to lose that weight. How much weight are you trying to lose now?
Then I had gone up to, I remember at the heaviest I was 96.
You went up to 96.
Yeah.
So 77, you're doing everything, you're up to 96. You tried to do intermittent fasting, correct?
Yeah.
What happens there? Because it had worked in the past.
Yeah. I was low on, I was not doing intermittent fasting as much because I'm still feeding my baby.
Okay. So what are you trying to do to lose the weight?
I was trying
apart
to
from
eat
exercise.
clean. Yeah, I was trying to eat clean. And then like dinners, I would only have vegetables or nothing at all.
And then what would happen when you have those vegetables by themselves?
See, I'm hungry in the middle of the night.
So what happens?
See, I'm junking.
Okay.
I'm just eating bread.
Because I need someone to make that connection.
Yeah. I'm eating a lot of, junk food. What is available?
Yeah.
The options I have mostly it's bread.
Yes.
And the sweet kind of things. You have this craving for sweet stuff because probably I'm not feeding my body well.
Let's pause there because it's so important that some woman who is exactly where you were learns this. You undereat during the day.
Yeah.
You get super hungry. Yeah. Remember, you're not sleeping well, so your lethargic energy is low.
Yes.
Stress is high.
Extremely high.
And cravings go
high.
Up.
Yeah.
And so you're find yourself eating breads, donuts, cakes, etc. And we're loving the husbands because
they're bringing them
all that nice cakes.
Yeah.
So you get up to 96.
Yes.
So what do you try to do at this point?
And at 96, I'm scared.
Of course.
Because I remember the reason why I started losing weight before my pregnancy was I didn't want to cross the 100 kilos
barrier
threshold. But I'm getting there. 4 kilos away is not a joke.
I don't want to interrupt here, but I feel like I want to.
Just go ahead. Yeah.
Have you ever heard what you fear the most is what you attract?
For sure. And the reverse is true.
And the reverse is true.
What you feel like you should have, also you attract.
Yes.
Because that has happened for me this year. And probably I'll talk about it later. But
yes.
That time I attracted that weight.
100. Because now you're 96. In fact, I don't think I knew this part of your story.
Yeah.
So, and in fact, the first thing I thought, oh my God, she was so afraid of getting to 100 in 2019.
Yes.
And now she's 4 kilos shy. Continue.
Yes.
Wow.
And I'm scared.
Of course.
Yes. I was so scared.
Yes.
I was like, something has to give. Something has to give.
Okay, so what happens?
So I start dropping off milk because, I felt like milk has a lot of fat. So let me start dropping that off. Sugar, of course, amidst breastfeeding and feeding my baby, I brought back a little of the sugar, sugar in my tea.
Yes, yeah.
So I was doing the hot chocolate with milk and drinking chocolate, and I added, some 2 to 3 teaspoons of sugar. So I dropped off the sugar. For me, it was easy.
Okay.
Dropping off the added sugar was really easy for me because I had done it before. I was also taking a lot of sodas. So I stopped the sodas.
Good. Okay.
So lots of water, and I'm doing lemon water, and in the morning,
Okay,
I'm doing walks.
Good.
So the kilos are coming down.
Good.
But I come down till 88 first.
Good job. Okay.
I plateau, and then I go back to 92.
Okay.
So it's yo-yoing between 80 and 90s. So at some point, I like last year, I remember, because that was the time I stopped breastfeeding my baby. I was intentional. I wanted to stop her at 2 exactly, but they have a mind of their own. They stop at their own time.
Their own timing. Listen.
So I was traveling a lot last year out of the country for work. There was a program I was going through. Now I think it affects a lot of mothers, especially first-time mothers. Before you're a mother, you're like, I'm okay. You have this job, you don't have a dependent. So you feel like whatever you're earning is enough.
Yes.
Then you get a baby and you realize it's not enough. And you feel like the world has moved on and left you behind.
Yes.
So you want to do a lot. So I'm juggling my work and studies. Like I did my PMP in 2022.
What's a PMP?
My PMP is a project management professional.
Okay, got it.
It's a certification for project managers.
Okay.
So I did it in 2022. My baby was on my lap when I'm online studying.
Give me the
classes.
things we mothers go through.
Yes.
She is sitting down with her baby feeding and she's doing project. You tell me, women cannot do anything.
They can
Seriously.
do a lot.
We really can. Okay.
Like maybe if I can quote Beyonce, she said something
What
in
did she say?
one of her songs. You can have the children and get back to business.
How those children get back to business. Can we play that song? I don't know if they
Who
allow
runs
us to
the
do
world,
that.
I think.
It's who runs the world? Okay.
I think.
Girls. Yes.
So by then that statement kept playing, that specific
word.
phrase,
Yes.
kept running at the
In
back
your
of my
head.
mind. Because I was with my daughter. I'm frustrated because she's crying. You can't let your baby cry. When she cries, milk starts, just oozing out.
But then that's stress also. Your body's
stress.
also responding because you're stressed.
Yeah, so you hold your baby and and this is a class that requires your concentration. And it's evening classes because I was at work during the day. I rush back home at 5 p.m. My class starts and it's a 3-hour class. And at some point, baby wants to be with you. So sometimes I'll tell the nanny to take her out to the field. They will take walks, but at some point she needs you. So she's on your lap, you feed her, you're done, you do your exams. I passed. I remember, in fact, before the exams that night, I was just doing exercise. It's an online exam and you have to go to an exam center.
Okay.
So my baby needs me, but I also need to pass this exam because this is for me. I feel like, I felt like the world had moved on and left me behind. So I had not done so much after I graduated in 2012.
Yes.
And this was 2021 when I was getting my baby. Yeah. Almost 10 years later.
Yes, yeah.
And between that time and my baby arriving, I had done nothing. I had done a lot of in-house training within the company. I had done some...
But you felt like you wanted something extra
for my growth.
For yourself.
And sometimes you have to go the extra mile.
You do. And it's not even just for your growth, but for your family.
Yeah.
Because you're setting yourself up for success.
How do you increase your net worth? How do you increase your net worth? You have to increase your value.
You've got to increase your value.
Yeah,
so when you do this exam, you've dropped your weight to like 89.
Yes.
No, 88,
89.
Now, and then it comes up to 92.
Yes.
So at what point, now, when did you decide, okay, I need to change this and I need to make things happen?
I remember last year now when I was in this program that I'm traveling, because I traveled to Zambia twice and then I traveled again to Sweden. And when I was traveling, we are traveling with a bunch of other people who are doing the same program as myself. And when I'm denying myself food.
Okay.
We're having...
So you're still not eating. So that's an old habit that's coming up. Okay?
Yes, actually I'm eating, but you're afraid of the wheats.
Yes.
Because you're thinking, these are the culprits. These are the
issues.
Things.
Yes,
So people are having, and you're craving them. You're seeing the donuts, you're seeing these, healthy, sugary treats you want to eat, but you can't because you're telling, I can't because if I start, it's a slippery slope. So I'm not eating them.
Okay.
But then at dinner, you'd see my plate full of food. There is meat, there is vegetables, there is the carbohydrates, but copious amounts of them, a lot of it.
Yeah.
And a friend of mine, we went through the program with her, kept telling me, just have the wheat. I know you want it. And she would be on my case every time. You're going to eat it. I know you're going to, and I would feel so bad, and it would frustrate me. I don't want to fall off the wagon, but these things are really sweet. So at some point, I would say, just the one. You see, this kind of denying myself food that I need, or sometimes I want, but I don't feel comfortable around food, was really frustrating me.
So you're not comfortable.
I'm not
around
comfortable
food.
around, especially the sweet treats. There is tea, and there is those two cinnamon buns, donuts and whatnot. I'm trying to avoid, but I can't avoid because I'm also craving. Because if I don't eat it now, sometimes you're allowed to take food in your room, and then you're thinking, behind the four walls of my room, nobody's seeing me.
Yes.
So I can eat this food, and I don't have to explain to somebody why I'm trying to
So we
avoid
are now beginning to get those behaviors, food behaviors that are not supporting, because you're now eating and you're hiding.
Yes.
So let's fast forward, because I want us to move to the takeaways, and you can show us what you brought for us for takeaways. Can you tell me what then happens and you decide, okay, this is not healthy. I want to be able to make these changes. What happens quick?
So last year we moved to a different house. Now this is a maze unit. It has stairs. So when I was going upstairs, I remember when we moved, just the first few days, I started feeling pain in my knees.
So the knees come again.
So I'm like, hey, Fiona, you have to do something.
Yes, yeah.
Already I'm walking, but I'm not serious about it.
Yes.
I'm on and off, and off. So I try to start watching my weight. I start intermittent fasting, and I'm going through it. I'm just like, and we had agreed that 2024 is the year we are going to try for baby number 2.
Okay.
But I'm scared because I don't want to start, because my weight is still very high, 88, 89. That's where I had stagnated. So every time my husband asks, are we going to try? And I'm like, I'm not comfortable. And because I'm the one who's going to carry the baby, we have to do it at my time when I'm ready, mentally and physically. So I started being active. I'm starting clean eating, but on and off, because there is still junk, here and there. We're still ordering out. Sometimes you're eating out, but you're not eating. When you're eating out, you're not having the healthier options.
Yes.
Yeah. And finally, in August, I remember we had agreed that September, I think that's the time we'll actually start trying. And I had an IUD, so I didn't want to remove it before I feel like I'm ready. Yeah. So in August, they had a health drive in their company. So their cover is taking care of everything, and theirs was a bit different from what we have in our company, because it was in fact, he had told me, you need to go, this is very nice, because it's usually at a subsidized price, and you have a full body checkup. I had some sort of body checkups, but for our company it's not intensive. They don't draw blood and have all those kind of tests. So I decided to go when he insisted, because they had a clinic at their workplace. So I went, had the checkup. They do the dental, the optical,
everything.
Then they draw blood. Everything in my liver is okay, because I don't drink so much. So
what's amiss? What's wrong there?
Cholesterol.
So your cholesterol. So here, blood pressure, high cholesterol. No, blood pressure
is okay. Is borderline. But my cholesterol, was higher. I've never had high cholesterol in my entire life.
Of course.
Never. Because I've had those tests even in hospital, even when I was pregnant. And most pregnant women get high cholesterol, high blood pressure, the extremes.
Yes.
Diabetes, there is that pregnancy diabetes. People get that. I never got those. In fact, when the highest my pressure went to when I was pregnant was at 130. 90 something to 100, and that's when my doctor was like, your pressure has been consistently at 118 60, and now it has moved to 130. So she was like, you're going high, and we need to deliver this baby soon, and for me that was the highest I had in terms of pressure. That was the highest.
Okay.
So this time the pressure is also that borderline 130 something. and 130 over like 88, 90, you know, so that's borderline high.
Wow.
And
Okay.
it had never happened to me, but that's not cause for alarm, because it's still within the ranges they give.
Range.
Yeah.
Even though for me, I have always said that's a signal that we need to be mindful of.
It was.
Now I want us to end here, but before we end quickly, at what point, and I want you to really quick, like less than 2 minutes, what happens? You come in, high cholesterol, you're like, I gotta figure this out. What do you decide to do?
For when I was diagnosed with high cholesterol, I go back to my intermittent fast, because in fact I saw a nutritionist and she was like, Fiona, I need you in 2 months to have lost 4 kilos. And I, in my back of my mind, I'm like, that's walk in the park. 4 kilos, 2 months, I'll do that.
Yeah.
So my plan was intermittent fasting, clean eating, and walking and workout. Because what
happened when you did that?
I was struggling.
Yeah.
I was struggling. The intermittent fasting it wasn't working for me, because I lost some kilos, like 1 or 2, and then I gained it back. Yeah.
Why were you losing and gaining, do you think? I want you to look at your lifestyle and consider what was happening there.
I'm thinking it's because when I was doing intermittent fasting, see, I'm denying myself food for a major part of the day.
And then when you eat?
When I eat a lot of it.
And I think that's the part that I want folks to understand. The denial, it's the fasting and the feasting.
Yeah.
You go for long seasons without eating, and then when you're eating, you end up overeating.
Yeah.
And so what we're going to do, we're going to finish this part of your story in our takeaway session.
Yeah.
So guys, Fiona has brought us some beautiful treats for our takeaway. And in the takeaway session, she's going to share with us why this particular meal, why she stopped fasting, and why she started focusing on balance, consistency, and moderation. And so let's move on to our next session of our takeaways with Fiona. And so we're moving from table talk to takeaways with Fiona. Awesome. You guys, for our takeaway session, we are going to be having Miss Fiona sharing with us her biggest takeaways. But before we go into our takeaways, can you share with us what was reality versus expectation after your beautiful story? Once you come into Hey Sugar, what were you expecting and what did you get?
I expected to gain some consistency. I was more curious about how I can, work on my hormones, my sleep patterns, especially because I'm a shift worker, And the expectation was, it blew my mind. I learned consistency. Good. Like sustainability, really. Yeah, and I learned that it's not about perfection. Yes. Progress, not perfection. Yes, yeah. For me, that was that's usually what runs at the back of my mind every time I'm trying to do something and I'm beating myself up. Yeah. And I learned that balance. BCM, balance is important. Yes. Balanced meals are more important than saying because you want to lose weight, you're focusing on vegetables only. No. But your body needs all these nutrients. Correct. So for me, balance, nowadays, I'm very intentional wherever I'm going. Yes. So
in terms of balance.
Me,
Awesome. And that's why you brought this for us, because once you started balancing your meals and like what you brought for us here, what kind of results did you see? Have you seen? And how do you continue to see this lifestyle sustainable? Is it sustainable? Actually,
it's very sustainable. Yeah. It's very sustainable. And, listening to your body, it craves it. Your body is asking for the right kind of food. Yes. You cannot go wrong. If you don't have vegetables, you feel like this meal, I can just eat it, but I'm not okay.
Just like
so one of the things I started doing when I was when we were in Hey Sugar, because I was a fan of salad. I used to buy there is this red purple cabbage. Yeah, but I wouldn't. I'm going to make that salad. I wouldn't. Maybe I don't like it cooked, so I would wonder what will I do with this red cabbage. So sometimes I would saute it, but I never used to like how it would come out. So I decided I would be making salad. So I would shop on Sunday. So when I'm shopping, I would make sure I have a red cabbage for just one red cabbage would last me a month, because I would use half, and then the other half because I would make the salads on Sunday. Yeah, so that I can have 3 to 4 days supply. Awesome. I would refrigerate, but it shouldn't stay for so long because it also starts losing taste. Maybe I'll use just all of
the onions. So we have salad, then you've added some red onions.
Usually what I do with the onions onions, however, because the red onions specifically, most of the time is a bit bitter.
It can be.
Yeah, so I usually put some salt in it and let it stand.
So then you put salt and rinse and put it in there. Perfect.
Yeah. So
and
maybe that's a tip for somebody who's going to do this salad. Just put it in salt while you're chopping your other vegetables and let it aside. Then you will rinse and add it to your nini. Then cucumbers, red cabbage, cucumbers.
Oh, look at the colors. I also like all these different colors.
And that's what really, the funny thing when you're feeding your baby.
Yes.
Because this happens a lot. Babies are they're attracted to color.
Yes.
So and it's the same to adults. For adults, when you see color, you're like, I should taste that.
I wanna eat that. I wanna taste.
How does it taste? So mostly I use just half a cabbage, and then like a whole cucumber, medium sized, one large onion. That one I soak in salt and not salt. I just sprinkle salt on it and leave it to stand for like 10 to 15 minutes. Then I rinse it with water. So after that, I start mixing the ingredients and maybe we can mix that as we talk.
Mix it up as we talk. Then you add some. So for your protein, there's a couple of things you could do. Correct?
Yeah. Mostly the salad I do it with a protein, maybe chicken, beef,
or even fish,
or even lentils for people who don't eat meat. Lentils, beans, it's still okay.
But
because it's salad, your other option is hot, so
that's true.
That's okay.
Yeah.
And alternative, because here we don't have other proteins, we'll use seeds. These are pumpkin seeds, protein or fat.
Yes,
it's a good option for protein and fat, and it adds that crunch. So
it does. Yes, the crunch.
And then I use black pepper. Black pepper. You know what it does to your body?
What does it do? Makes it hot.
It's hot, but I read somewhere, I did some research. That's when I started adding black pepper to a lot of my things because it increases metabolism.
Oh, the heat.
The heat.
So when you heat for real, what do you find yourself doing? Oh, that's okay.
This is a lot.
Yes. No. That's
I feel like this is okay for me.
Yes, that's perfect. That's perfect.
Although this salad, it's not like it's so much. So I usually do black pepper in a lot of things, but I like it in salads because it's easier to eat in salads than hot pepper.
I love that.
Yeah. Okay. And then I add lemon juice. Okay. Yeah, so I'm going to slice this up.
Perfect. And what are some of the results that you've gotten, even as you're preparing this? When you think about having done the lifestyle, now this is the lifestyle you're living and creating, what are some of the results that you have gotten so far?
Some of the results I've gotten. In the morning, the lemon, I would add, you had advised us to, take water first. But I was still doing that even before. So, water.
Smart.
Yeah.
I hadn't even thought of that. Yes.
Water in, early, in an empty stomach with some lemon, and your body starts asking for that.
Yes.
You need water. You wake up in the morning. I'm not taking anything fast.
Yes.
Water. With some lemon, maybe apple cider, body asks for it. And then some of the benefits is, you feel full. These vegetables, because of the fiber, you feel full very quickly. So you don't have to eat so much.
And it also smells
really good.
Nice.
Yeah, right?
But even the pepper, I can even smell that pepper. Yeah.
And sometimes I'm over excited about the pepper. I do so much, I start sneezing. Yeah. So this, and sometimes if you don't have like the seeds, you can add avocado as as a fat option.
Yes, okay.
This is good fat.
That's
people
good
say
fat.
avocado.
Let me tell you, avocado is big.
It's like a super fruit.
So good.
Yeah,
it really is.
Somebody said, and this is,
and it's so nice. It's so pretty.
Somebody said avocado should be a love language, and
I'm with them. I agree.
It's a love language.
I agree.
Yeah, so you can add avocado. Especially, this can be a salad with maybe chicken chunk.
Yes.
You chop up chicken and
yes.
add it, or if you have roast meat, that's okay. Or if not, you can just have your normal even stew with it. Stew in a different bowl, because that's what I do when I go to work.
Yes.
I put some of this in a bowl and vegetables in and the meat, the protein in another bowl.
Yes, correct.
Yeah.
This looks really nice.
I like the colors.
We do not waste avocado.
Yeah,
Let me tell you. Let me tell you.
Yeah,
yes.
So I think this is enough.
Okay. That looks good.
Yeah. So mix this up.
Oh.
You have a nice, good salad.
That's pretty and beautiful. And if you want, you could also add yogurt.
You can add yogurt.
You can also, for extra protein. So
yes.
this would be fantastic.
And you know the beauty about this, even when you're doing sandwiches, and because sometimes you can do sandwich and you put these veggies and you lay it up with your proteins and then another layer of veggies and you have a sandwich, especially if it's the good kind of bread.
Especially so essentially what you're saying, this is very versatile.
Yes.
It's a versatile
maybe
dish.
we can add some yogurt.
Oh yes.
And all the
Let's
seeds.
just throw everything out there.
Everything in. I've not done it with yogurt, but I'm interested to see. Usually I put my yogurt aside, but I'm interested to test how this really.
But you know what this can also be?
Yeah.
It could also be like you know how you add mayonnaise?
Yes.
Or a dressing?
Yeah, actually the dressing for me,
yogurt.
because I wanted to talk about the dressing.
Yes.
Sometimes I do. You remember I mentioned olive oil.
Yes.
So if I don't have avocado, what I do, I mix a bit of olive oil, a bit of vinegar and some black pepper. Then you mix it all. Sometimes you do avocado, a bit of vinegar, and the onions, instead of adding them direct, you add onions, avocado, and pepper and lemon juice or vinegar. Then you mix it and it becomes a dressing, because maybe somebody else is not taking pepper or onions.
I love it. So here, can you serve? Can you put it in here?
Yes.
All right, and then maybe
salt. Yeah, a little bit of salt. You know, I forgot the salt because I usually add my salt in my onions.
Okay.
So a bit of salt. Sometimes if I forget the salt when I'm doing it, I don't add salt. I don't add it all the same at the end of it. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, this looks good. Now this is something I would eat.
And you know, it's an easy, quick meal. You make this, and the next day you come in your kitchen, you find a protein, you find this, and you
add it on and you're good to go.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Can you sample?
Yes.
Can we both taste?
Yeah.